Hi, good morning. This is going to be video 752. It is May 27th, and I wanted to make just a quick kind of catch-in video. Uh, it's almost been a week since I had my surgery. I had three hernias. I had an umbilical hernia and then two other types of hernias. Linguinal, I guess. Sounds like a noodle, doesn't? Linguini. Two linguinal. I had one linguinal going down into like where my kidney was, which I've had that pain for like years and thought it was irritable bowel syndrome, which it might still be, but it's just one of those things. They never did a CT contrast of that area. No one ever thought to look there. So I'm hoping that's what that is. And then I had a second linguinal going down into my right hand side. Could be my kidney too, I guess. You got two kidneys. Um, and pressing down and smacking into that thing. And apparently that's where the pain that I've been experiencing has been. And then the third one was sort of below my breast, kind of in that space between your belly button and in the bottom of your bra. And that was probably an abdominal um, hernia. And it basically, and that one was strangulated. It was full of shit. It was full of excrement, and was toxic. Obviously, if something had happened to it, it was like I said, it was strangulated. So if the tissue turned necrotic, it would just be a bad thing. So it was one of those things. They just said we got to operate as soon as we can. It's not life threatening, but it is a threat. So um, within a day or two, I had surgery, and so I'm off for a week and recovering. And this is kind of the first day that I've actually felt kind of human enough to talk and do things. I did play D&D last week. I ran a game, and I'm glad I did because it was the diversion, kept my mind busy from the pain, but I couldn't do my voices as far as the NPCs goes. I had a hard time concentrating. But it was enough of it was a distraction. And much like this week's game is going to be, I'm very glad to have it because it is a distraction, keeps my mind occupied on other things. Uh, but also, now I can kind of start to look around and, I can't pick up anything heavy. And I didn't really realize how much we use our abdominal muscles when we're sitting in a chair. When we lean back and forward, that's your abdominal muscles. And when you're in your bed, you roll over, it's your abdominal muscles. I mean, it's like the muscle you just never think about, but you use all the time. And as I'm doing now, I'm not straining or cursing or anything. A couple days ago, whoo, no, could not. So I'm starting to get some functionality to it. So that's good news. I still have a week to go. It's a 2-week recovery time, and that butts into my other surgery, which I'm going to have, which I don't remember the name of, but it's going to address it's corrective surgery, which I've mentioned before. It'll be corrective surgery on my GCS. Be the second corrective surgery I've had on my GCS to fix some mistakes that were made, or just I didn't heal right, however you want to look at it. We've already talked about that, so I won't spend any time on that. So that has a 3-week recovery time, and so I will be off work for a total of 5 weeks, and don't quite have the pay to cover it, but I did originally. Uh, but the hernia kind of was like, well, there's 2 weeks of income, there's a paycheck, so now I'm in the hole, but you got to have it. You cannot have it. You gotta, so we'll work on that. We're working on that to see kind of what I can do to help kind of supplement. I've already, cut everything off that can be cut off and thought about selling some models on eBay, trying to make some quick cash, just kind of to cover stuff because it's just unexpected. And I guess this would be a good time to have some kind of catastrophic insurance. We just have to kind of wait and see. Just kind of wait and see. So, but I did just kind of wanted to touch base. I think really nothing is related to being trans other than just life stuff. Um, and that I think for me personally, because so much emphasis has been on my abdomen and my abdominal area, I just didn't realize how big I had become. And now every time you move, you feel the pain, and I mean I feel like I'm carrying a child. My belly. Um, I'll show you now. My belly is just it's like I'm pregnant, you know, and there's no reason for it. And so I want to do something about it. So I'm kind of fired up to do something about it. I don't know exactly what that means. Um, Back when I lost all the weight before, I lost 120 pounds to have GCS. I don't think I think my belly, the skin has been stretched. And so it just got flabbier. But I don't know. There's something we can do, whether it be I got to lose it, and then it becomes thin. And I think you can donate skin to like burn victims. I don't know. We'll see what's gonna happen. It's just at the moment, it really kind of disgusts me. I disgust myself, and I want to make a change, and I'll see what I can do about that. But it's also been just such a challenge because I haven't been able to pick up. I can't bend over and pick stuff up, and I don't have a little rod thing, the little grabber. Used to when I used to pick up trash when I go for walks. So that's somewhere. I guess I could look for it now that I think about it. I might know where it's at. Uh, and it's been just kind of a rough period of time. My daughter, it's her last day of school, and so it's she's been busy doing other things. Her mind's been on other things. My mind has been on fixing myself, letting myself rest. And so now I'm kind of looking around, going, as I get better and better, and as long as I don't hurt myself, I can spend 15 minutes doing what I can do, taking it easy, and then I rest for a little bit, and then I get up and I do something, and I rest for a little bit. Um, so that's pretty much it. I had a friend this week have a bit of a breakdown, and I don't quite know the details of it, but it reminded me somewhat. I don't know all the details of it. It's her business. I'm not going to put that on here. But what reflected me in my own life, which I am going to talk about, was just about the fifth year of my transition. Um, I just felt the need to have a change, you know, and I felt somewhat like I was getting a lot of, people were asking questions, and it's nice to help people out and everything, but it was like I found that I had been giving out too much of myself and not giving myself the time that I needed. And I kind of had reached a stage where it was like, okay, well, what does Robin want to do? You know, if Robin wasn't trans and Robin had been born a cis gal, what would she want to do with her life as a 49-year-old, 48-year-old, 50-year-old woman? And then do it, you know. And that requires a little bit of cutting, a little bit of trimming, particularly and specifically with the trans community. And you've done your initial 2 years of oh, I'm going to explore what this means being transgender. Da da da. You've done your year of okay, I'm adapting, I'm surviving. You've done your 2 years of I'm going to give back to the community. I'm gonna, make it easier for the people that come behind me, support and everything. And again, I think there comes a time when you just have to say, okay, me, what do I want to do for me? And to do that, I think you have to cut those other ties loose and let the next generation of new trans women do it. You know, if you're always there and make yourself available and give, if you're always sacrificing yourself, you're never going to have the time for you because other people have needs that just they're always going to be needy. The problems stay the same, but the people change. And so, you kind of have to, you know, just it's time for the next thing in your life. And it's going to feel selfish at first. And there's going to be people who are going to accuse you. I know I was accused of being selfish. I was accused of being heartless and cruel and mean. And I wasn't insulting to anybody. I just one day said, I've reached a point in my life. I think it's time to move on to the next chapter. And thank you for being part of my life. And I wish you the best of luck in yours. And cut it, you know. And again, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you care enough about yourself to do the next thing in your life. It's time for the next chapter. It's time to move on. It's time to do the next thing. Time to explore the next mountain, the next pass, the next valley, the next thing in your life. New things, new directions. And again, like I said initially, that can seem like you're being somewhat selfish, but I don't think you are. You'll note, at least in the way it was in Atlanta, the way it was in Florida, the way it was in Kentucky and Indiana, um, with the support groups and whatnot, eventually the older trans women, they move on. They don't stick around. And I had made that post, and someone wrote back and they said, well, some trans women do if they're narcissistic. And I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that, but there are definitely in any group, does not limited to trans women. There are people who seek attention and who needs just constant affirmation, kind of needy people, for lack of a better word. You've heard of psychic vampires that kind of feed off other emotions. And again, at that point, I'm not saying it's the way it is necessarily, but it can be that way in any group. And I've certainly encountered some in my travels. You just gotta, thank you so much. Thank you for being a good friend. I appreciate it, but it's time for me to move on, you know, and walk away. Walk away. Go on to the next big thing for you. That's the next opportunity. It's time for you to continue your life as if it wasn't interrupted. Like I said, what would you do if you were a cis girl or if you're trans man, a cis guy in middle age? You've lived a life, you've maybe had a child's gone off to college. You're in a new phase of your life. You get to do what you want to do. Kind of liberating and scary too. So on that note, I will sign off. I've got a D&D game to plan for, and I'm kind of getting excited, getting some passion back in my hobbies again, which, again, after surgery, you're loopy and, uh, that's kind of nice to get those. Oh, sounds like my two boys, my two sons, who've been really good. My cats have been very aware of my mental state and sanity. Uh, they want to be near me and comfort me. I had one, my oldest son, yesterday. I was just in such a sad mood. I felt terrible. He just came up and was like, "I love you, Mom." It was nice. All right, till next time. Good luck to you in your pursuit of becoming your authentic self as you define it. All right, bye bye.